We're currently 1-2 in the WBG, the VGC Draft League that we just joined, and today we're taking on our editor Kurt, who is a fairly decent battler in the VGC scene. Well, I won't exactly act like Kurt is the best VGC Draft League player of all time. Kurt is a really strong battler overall, and of all of the people who start with primarily singles in this format, he probably is one of the better people in my opinion in the league. So we do have a very uphill battle against us in terms of someone who is actually kept up with draft, and overall has a really terrifying team that we'll go over today. If you guys enjoy and want to see more content like this, of course, like and subscribe. And with that said, let's get into the matchup today, which starting off, a few things of note is one, Kurt's combination of Whimsicott as well as other faster threats like Dragapult and Terrakion that can completely abuse the support this thing has. Kurt also has incredible Intimidate options like Scrafty and a really good Redirector in Fungus, which in VGC Draft in particular is a nightmare because of the fact that not everyone can just have an Amoonguss. So Kurt having a nice option that's just Baby Amoonguss is really good for the cost in this format. We'll have to be very careful about that, as I think Fungus in particular could actually cause some issues, especially with a good defensive Tera, and it'll make things like Terrakion and Dragapult that much more harder to combat. Also, Kurt is one of my favorite Pokemon to use in VGC, being none other than Volcarona. So I'm very terrified of this thing because I know it can be an absolute monster, and it's a very versatile Pokemon to face. For our first option on the team, I actually decided to go for a very offensive threat with none other than Kilowattrel, with the Mental Herb to help get around this Whimsicott that might pose a bit of issues utility-wise against us, and for a moveset of Hurricane, Tailwind, Electroweb, and Protect, this proves to be not only a great speed control option, but it also is just a really good wall breaker thanks to Hurricane plus competitive, that I might be able to proc thanks to options like Scrafty that Kurt has on his team. We have Tera Ground as a nice defensive option, mostly for things like Rock Slide Terrakion, as I didn't really want to have to take that hit, as Kilowattrel is one of my best damage dealers on the matchup. Hurricane is going to be such a great move against most threats that Kurt has, and it should also just do a great job at clearing through Pokemon that might potentially pose a threat to our other options. Especially when we have Pokemon like our next option being Ralaire the Ogerpon, with Ivy Cudgel, Trailblaze, Spiky Shield, and Swords Dance. This proves to be a really good setup option, as Fire and Grass hit Kurt's team entirely besides any sort of dragon types like Dragapult or random Tera Dragon options. For our spread, we're going to be creeping all the way up to Terrakion, as Terrakion is something that I'm a little bit scared of being Scarfed, as Scarf Rock Slide is really good into my team besides a couple of different options, neither of which really want to take on Terrakion besides Garchomp. Though most common Tera typings for Garchomp will either fear Terrakion itself or end up just fearing the partner spot, so I do need to be a bit careful here, as I could put myself in a situation where Garchomp is no longer a check. So I want to make sure that my Ogerpon can just offensively revenge once I've set up the situation for it. Overall, this proves to be a very good wall breaker, and Fire and Grass will hit Kurt's team very well in the endgame, and I fully expect Ogerpon to do some great work here. Especially next to our Garchomp, which I already kind of spoiled is on the team, but we have a clear Amulet Tera Poison Garchomp with Earthquake, Outrage, Poison Jab, and Protect. This ends up proving to be a very bulky Garchomp, as I think it is my best way around Terrakion, and with Tera Poison we can still change our typing at least into a type that will resist one of Terrakion's stabs, and it's also going to be great for options like Whimsicott. With Poison Jab, this should be a great way to clear through that, as it's really Kurt's only actual defensive check to things like Outrage on the team, as he doesn't really have a lot of other great fairy checks besides Primarina, which will also completely get folded by Poison Jab here. With Earthquake, this should just be a great spread option, as Kurt's resistances are literally just the Whimsicott, and then he has some more niche options that will probably take a hit like Lapras, but overall I think that the combination of Earthquake, Poison Jab, and Outrage will just massacre through his team, especially with the Clear Amulet to get around Intimidate Scrafty and the Adamant Nature to lean into damage here. Overall, this should be a great Pokemon overall, and we do have a Kingambit up next as well to try and really lean into this bulky team that we're bringing. Hey, post-edited Liv here. Really quickly just want to go over the Kingambit because just like with yesterday's video, for some reason during this section only, most of my audio cut out. I'm gonna have to look into that because it's now 2 videos in a row. But the Kingambit's Tera Poison, which is gonna be great for options like Terrakion, as we now have a fighting resist, and it still keeps our ability to check things like Whimsicott and Scrafty pretty sufficiently here. As with 2 fighting types, Kurt's team is really problematic for Kingambit otherwise, but Tera Poison is really difficult to break for his team as he doesn't have a ground type, thankfully. With the Sucker Punch and Safety Goggles combination, this should hopefully help with getting around things like Rage Powder Fungus that could otherwise maybe get in the way, as well as things like Rage Powder Volcarona, which could maybe be a more offensive Rage Powder user that Kurt could bring against us. And overall, this proves to be a very terrifying win con. Despite the lack of Protect here, I feel like I could definitely position this with options like Misdreavus being our next Pokemon on the team in order to get a very good position here with this as a nice win con that Kurt really cannot get past. Moving on to our 5th option, we have Vilmari making her debut, our Misdreavus, with Will-O-Wisp, Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room, and Taunt with the Tera Fairy. The Misdreavus' special attack here is to make sure that we can do as much damage as possible to Scrafty with Tera Fairy Gleam, and with Taunt we can stop a lot of Kurt's other support options. Meanwhile, Will-O-Wisp is great to burn a lot of the physical offense, with things like Dragapult and Scrafty in particular being really big noteworthy threats, though Terrakion will still be something important to burn. overall, this should be a great support piece, and I think that Tera Fairy will help lean into a lot of defensive options that we now can enable, such as avoiding knockoff from Scrafty. Finally, we have none other than Adashima, our Mienshao, with Close Combat, Fake Out, Coaching, and Rock Tomb. I have Rock Tomb as mostly a means of getting around the Volcarona here, and with enough speed, we should be able to creep that thing guaranteed, so as long as I can Rock Tomb on any Quiver Dance turns, I can get around it, even if it does Tera, as I will always keep a speed advantage. Coaching is great to enable options like Garchomp, Ogerpon, and Kingambit in case I can't get any of the other two set up. I know Garchomp doesn't have a setup move, but it is still nice to enable. And with Tera fighting, we can lean into the close combat damage, as it's really nice for breaking through things like Scrafty, which can no longer intimidate us due to inner focus, or even options like Terrakion that can definitely prove to be a bit bulkier if Kurt wants. The Rhino code's going to be on screen here, as well as the paste in the description below. And with that said, let's get right into today's battle. All right, we're here. I had a bit planned for this video because I know that Kurt, is a very comical guy. I've worked with Kurt for a while, editing wise. Like I know he is. I thought I had a bit planned. Unfortunately, though, my censored energy drink is it's cracked open now, so I can't say that I'm covering it up. And he ruined the bit. It's okay, Kurt. I'm glad that we fixed your capture card issues, but you ruined my bit, so I'm a little salty about that. It's okay, though. Kurt and I did already lead this match. Kurt's capture card literally black screened, on lead. But I screenshotted the lead. He doesn't actually know what I led because it stopped working. But I sent him the lead. It's Kilowattrel. He's leading Scrafty Whims, and then backline. I do kind of like the idea of going with Ogerpon, and then I like the idea of going with Kingambit. There's merit, I think, in also potentially going with Mienshao over one of the two. I think that Kingambit, if I was to bench one, would be the better bring here, as it matches up a little bit better post-Tera. But Ogerpon isn't bad. I feel like an aggressive Ogerpon backline could be really good here, frankly. I'm gonna bring Adashima. I'm not gonna question it. This is what I brought last time, actually, and I'm just gonna commit to it. I think it's a good lead, and I think realistically, this is a good game one set to bring, and Kurt's team can't super handle it, in my opinion. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna trust it. There's no reason to second guess now. I think that for whatever happens, though, game 2, my adaptation is always going to be Misdreavus. I think Misdreavus is a really good adaptation game 2. Good luck and fun to Kurt, though. I feel confident that we can win this. Kurt is a really decent player, though. I know Kurt doesn't play a lot of VGC, but Kurt has a good fundamental understanding of the game, though, and at least, conceptually gets a lot of stuff. So I'm not too confident, in the sense that, I'm not overconfident at least going into this, but, it should be not bad. So Marshall had a Mirror Herb. That's actually a really good thing to note. Okay. So Scrafty. This is a Mirror Herb Scrafty. That's a good bring, actually. Because under Tailwind, that mana is now actually going to be a lot... Oh, no, right. That's competitive. Okay. Well, it's a good thing we procced that, because that could have definitely been very terrifying. Okay. That's fine. So let me actually make sure that I counted that. Yeah, so it was Marshall. All right, that's good to know. It's probably been for Ogerpon, to be honest, but I'm still fine with this. We are going to go for the Hurricane, and actually, no, I'm going to go for the Electroweb this turn. No, I'll go for Tailwind on my own. I'm going to go for Tailwind on my own, and I'm going to go for a Protect here on Garchomp. Protect is more so for the Whimsicott if it's going for an offensive move. I want to gain a speed advantage, though, right now, and by making sure that I can match up with my opponent, I should be pretty good. Scrafty's going to Tera turn 1, and they're going to Tera Steel. I'm very glad I did not click Hurricane, because I almost clicked Hurricane, and I think that would have been a bad idea in hindsight. But I'm glad that I made the play that I did, because I can now actually properly target that Pokemon. Let me note down the rest of Kurt's Tera as well. I'm doing this. So Whimsicott is Tailwind, that is great, and this Tera Fire. It is Prankster as well. We have revealed that. All very good things. All of these are very, very good things. Okay, so looking at this, my play here is definitely to go for an Electroweb here. Mostly just to get the good speed control against my opponent. It breaks Whimsicott's Hash. It's always just a really good play here. Meanwhile, I think that it's time for Garchomp to go for Tera Poison. Tera Poison is overall really good. They burn Tera, which means that Terrakion can't take advantage of it for something like Tera Blast single target, so it's going to be a lot weaker overall. And Tera Poison, I think, is just a good play. Whoa, I almost Tera Poisoned for that. That was the wrong play to make. No, my play is Earthquake. Tera Poison is more so a defensive option around the Whimsicott and also the Ice Punch on the Scrafty, so I'd rather just take advantage of that. We do see that Volcarona is also rocking Tera Rock. This will be a great Tera for that. Okay, perfect. I'm kind of curious about what Kurt's backline is, but there's a lot of options that Kurt does have that can work really well around this. Dragapult is Ghost. That makes a lot of sense. I was really scared of Ghost Dragapult actually in the building process, so I'm definitely not happy that Kurt brought it. I'm shocked that Meditite came, though. I'm not exactly against it coming. I'm just shocked that it came. but I respect it. It's a decent fake out mon into my team. I just didn't think that Kurt would think of it. Thankfully, though, we went with a mental herb to get around situations like this specifically. I more so brought it for taunt, frankly, but this was another thing in the back of my mind was speed controlling around that Whimsicott, which could have been definitely pretty terrifying. But now, like, honestly, I'm kind of fine being locked in to Electroweb because it's not a bad move to be locked into against Kurt's team, in my opinion. Just dropping speed isn't really that terrible. We're going to go for the Electroweb here again, and I'm going to go for an Earthquake yet again. And this should be a really good sequence of plays overall on this turn. I fucked up on the Tera. I sent the Teras backwards for some reason. I read that backwards. It's Poison Fairy. My bad. That is definitely my bad. Glad I corrected that for Kurt. I'm fine taking the loss. I'm also fine if Kurt wants to play this out just for the sake of the information. That is on Kurt's end to scout for that. But yeah, no, that's if Kurt wants to win, he gets it. I mean, I'm not gonna fight him on that. But yeah, no, yeah, ground fire, poison, fairy fighting. Okay, I'm still fine with this, honestly. Like, even with the Tera poison on Garchomp, yeah, even with Tera poison on Chomp, I'm kind of fine with this because that was a fuck up objectively, not sending the right Tera. But I do know this lead is still really good. And frankly, even with Tera Poison, I'm not really too scared of whatever Kurt can do. Because even if Kurt doesn't Tera because of that on the Scrafty, I'm kind of fine with it. Because the combination of Kilowattrel and Garchomp just does a lot of damage against Kurt's team. So I'm not really too concerned here. Like, it's objectively not a great start to be in game 1, to have an 0-1, and then need to now win out the next 2. But I think that this team can still do it. Seeing Pull does lead me to believe I brought the right 4. And unlike Kurt, I have not revealed either my backline, and I still have a lot of tricks. Now, I think overall that this should still be a good position to be in, though. Yeah, I feel confident in this, actually. I feel very confident in this position. We revealed we are not, oh wait, no. It's a Kurt 1 for Ice Punch turn 1, yeah. So we haven't actually revealed anything about if Scrafty is fake out or what it might go for in regards to that. But I'm kind of okay. I think that realistically, my play is just to aggressively turn 1, go for the Tera Poison, and then go for a Tailwind. That's fine. I still feel very confident though. Realistically, I think this is my lead. I think I can bring the same 4. Maybe we bench Mienshao. Jury's still out on if I bench Mienshao. I do like it a lot for coaching, and frankly, like, I know it's how I've ran them on every week. But against Kurt's team, I think it has, like, the best matchup of the ones I brought it against so far. Which is a lot, because I think it tore through Speed's team on preview. But I think realistically that coaching plus Gambit does a lot against Kurt's team. And I'm not really too concerned with it. So, game number 2. I think there's also merit in maybe going with the Trick Room adaptation here. It could actually do a lot against the Whimsicott plus Scrafty combination. Specifically, some sort of just aggressive lead with... I think it would probably be Ogerpon and Misdreavus, in all honesty. Like, Ogerpon Misdreavus could go kind of hard. I could actually make that work. Yeah, that could definitely work. Yeah, Ogerpon Misdreavus could work. I also just like the idea of going back to Kilowattrel. I think Kilowattrel is kind of a nice, safe lead. I don't know how Kurt will play around that. Because Kurt would have lost that game, I think, even if... So if it played out, I will say, I think Kurt, no matter what, was not winning that game. There wasn't really a backline Mon that I think could have done it for Kurt. But not to say it wasn't possible, I just don't think it was likely. But with that in mind, though, how would Kurt adapt? Because I feel like the adaptation is probably leading off with Whimsicott and Dragapult, actually, and going for an aggressive lead like that. And I still think this is fine into that, actually. I think Whimsicott Dragapult is still a fine lead into that. I think even going as far as bringing the same 4 is still fine into that. I'm going to lock it, but I think game 3, regardless of how this game goes, I am going to lead off with Ogerpon and Misdreavus. I'm gonna lock that in now. The backline can kind of be whatever. It will probably be Kingambit and then Garchomp, if I had to guess, because my Garchomp will underpace this team. I'd rather save that information for game 3, though, because I think it's going to be very important information for game 3. And I do think that if I'm going to win in a best of 3 set, this is the way that I do it. Specifically, so I'm trying to think about not just winning this one match, I'm trying to think about how I win the whole set. And I think that saving Trick Room until game 3 will be the way to do it, because I fucked up in game 1. I think if I didn't fuck up in game 1, game 2 could have probably still been the Misdreavus game anyway, and then if it didn't work, it didn't work. I still have Tailwind to fall back on. That's not the case anymore. Now I'm doing this specifically to escape having to worry about that. They're going to lead off with Terrakion and Meditite. I'm very fine with this. I'm actually extremely fine with this. Because Terrakion and Meditite doesn't really like this lead in general. Now, my opponent will probably try and take advantage of this just however they can. That's fine. There's not really a lot that he does into this, frankly. I'm going to go for Electroweb, and I'm going to go for the... Yeah, I'm just going to go for Electroweb and Earthquake. There's not really a reason to make any other play. If my opponent goes for Fake Out, that's fine. They're not going for a coverage move that would actually hit my team well. If they go for it into Kilowattrel, I guess, and go for like a Rock Slide combination, that's fine. Terrakion has to take a ton of damage it does not want to take otherwise. And then I can bring in my Tera, Poison King, Gambit, and just kind of start slaughtering. Maybe not going for Tera right away, but I can bring it in nonetheless. I can also just bring in Mienshao, to be honest. Mienshao will also start kind of slaughtering. My opponent is going to Tera immediately. That's fine. I think it's probably going to be Tera on the Terrakion. Yep, Tera on the Terrakion. That's fine. Tera Terrakion's decent. I can get around Electroweb. Obviously, it gets around its weakness to Kilowattrel for Flying Stab. Like, it does a lot for it, and it's also getting around an Earthquake weakness here. It still will take a lot of damage this turn, frankly, though, and I'm kind of okay with that. We've now gotten off a Sash broken on that Meditite. That is most likely Sash. They're going to go for Earthquake with Telepathy on Meditite. That's good to know. It's good to note here. And they also have Fake Out, which is, again, very good information here. That does nothing, though, thankfully. Okay. So, this is all kind of fine, actually. Because we'll kill that Meditite on the following turn. And I can actually probably just lean into a Hurricane this turn, just to ensure that. This modest Kilowattrel will actually guarantee creep Terrakion by 1 unless it's Scarfed. But if it is Scarfed, they're giving that information up right now, which I'm very okay with. They didn't do a lot of damage, so they might honestly be Scarfed. Okay. Let's see. Game 2, lead Tera. Game 2, lead. Yeah, so this is all very fine, actually. I'm not really too concerned with this. Nothing that's happened so far has really been that scary, in my opinion. And overall, I mean, we're going to start claiming kills yet again with Kilowattrel, because Kilowattrel does a lot of work here. It's not even, like, my best lead here, but I do think it's a nice brain-dead one. They're going to go for Helping Hand. Now, Helping Hand might actually be able to pick off the Garchomp. It looks like that's going to be a roll. But they are Choice Scarf. That's really good information, because we do know for a fact that has to be Choice Scarfed, which is fine. It has to take a Hurricane here. And that means that Kilowattrel is actually a very essential piece here. We do live on 1. That is great. Again, looked like it was going to be a roll, so I'm not really too mad about that. And now, obviously, I mean, they can't really do a lot to my Kilowattrel, because, again, Kilowattrel is just going to kind of exist here. They have Helping Hand on Meditate, too. Alright, so this is all very fine, actually. I'm very okay with all of this that's happening right now. Because what I can actually probably do, no matter what comes in next, unless it's Dragapult, I can probably actually just go for Tailwind this turn. And even if it is Dragapult, they're going to be going for, like, what, Dragon Darts, Phantom Force, like those are all kind of fine things for me. No matter what, I am going to go for Protect on Garchomp, because if Dragapult comes in, in fact, really no matter what comes in, they're going to bring in Pink. That's the Whimsicott. Okay. So Whimsicott comes in. I'm kind of okay with this. My play is to go for a Protect here, and then to go for a Tailwind. Is it to go for Tailwind? Yeah, I think it's to go for Tailwind. Specifically because I want to keep the advantage on Kilowattrel for later Pokemon. I don't really care if Whimsicott goes for a Tailwind to match. I think they'll actually probably switch out a Terrakion here just to ensure that, but I can't really risk. So I'm going to go for it. If they go for a Tailwind of their own, so be it. I'm fine losing my Garchomp, because realistically, I think that I have enough ways in the back to still come through this. But okay, so they bring this game 2, and they do go for Tailwind yet again. Okay. Then also, I forgot to note down that they have Encore, which I'm very fine with. They're going to damage their own Whimsicott by doing this, so I'm kind of okay with this too. Okay, yeah. These are all good things. All very good things. Because their Whimsicott is the only Pokemon taking damage right now. And it's not a lot, but it is something. Objectively, this is something. And then I can proceed to just go for the Hurricane yet again into the Whimsicott and just really start pressuring that spot, because this has now become my out. Just to be safe, in case they do switch here, I will actually just go for an Earthquake this turn. They could definitely Encore this spot and just force it to die, and I'm kind of okay with that too. But I'll make the Whimsicott have to trade with that, because that means that Terrakion can never kill me. They're going to switch out a Terrakion. That's perfect. I'm very okay with this. Chloroseptic. That's going to be the Volcarona. Okay. So they have a team that's definitely not going to really like take... Oh, of course, we miss again. Okay, let's say it would really not like taking on Volcarona on a Kilowattrel if I could hit a fucking move. It's still not the worst. It's still not the worst by any means. Realistically, I can actually probably get Gambit into a good position now. With Tera Poison especially, that can really start claiming kills. We're gonna go into Sulamir here. Alright. So I'm gonna go for Kowtow Cleave and my Tera Poison mostly to get rid of my weakness to my opponent. We are gonna go for a... I kind of want to go for a Sword Dance here, but I don't know if I need to. I'm gonna just go for the Kowtow here. And I'm gonna take out the... I'm actually gonna go for an Iron Hit here. I'm just gonna bully this, and I'm gonna go for Electroweb into the Volk. Because if I can Electroweb the Volk, I think I'm kind of okay with there. Volk might just go for Quiver Dance, it might go for a Rage Powder. If it goes for Rage Powder, so be it. I just want the Whimsicott dead, because the Whimsicott I think will actually kind of be a problem. But if I Speed Control through my opponent, I should be kind of fine with my other teammates. But at minimum though, Volcarona I think can get kind of neutralized at this point. We're gonna still be the fastest Pokemon on the field with Kilowattrel, unless if Whimsicott is timid, which this is a good turn to scout for that. Because if Whimsicott goes for an offensive move like Dazzling Gleam, which we did see that as Dazzling Gleam, I gotta note that down. And then we can guarantee that information as well here. So Electroweb will go off. That means that they are not creeping us, which is great. That is very huge information right there. That means they're a bulkier Whimsicott because I made sure that I could scout for that speed tier right there. And we will force us to trade. They're gonna go for Quiver Dance on Volcarona. I'm very fine with that. I'm very fine with this, yeah. This is very much a not issue here. Okay, so Iron Head will pop at this point. Perfect, okay. And we've now made sure that Volcarona actually will also be slower than my Kilowattrel at this point, which is huge. That is very huge. Because if I can land a Hurricane for once, I can probably take out that Terrakion at this point. I'm curious if I need to, but I'm gonna check for it anyway. Specifically because that Terrakion can be kind of a problem. Let's see, King Gambit, Terrakion. This is Terra Ground Terrakion. We're gonna go for Sucker Punch. Okay, so I do need to hit a Hurricane. But a Hurricane would do it. A Hurricane would definitely be enough to kill with Sucker Punch. So I'm gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna go for our kill. We're gonna go for our kill into Terrakion. Because I need Terrakion dead. Sucker Punch is gonna go off. Perfect, okay. That's great damage. We're gonna boost its attack with Justified. Oh right, I forgot about that. Okay, that's not great, but it's kind of okay. Because I think I could still maybe win this. They're gonna Will-O-Wisp. Okay, Will-O-Wisp is fine. I'm still very fine with Will-O-Wisp. Because Volcarona has now revealed that it is Will-O-Wisp too. And Terrakion is revealed as Rock Slide. Okay, these are all very fine things. All very fine things. Opposing team's Tailwind petered out, and our team petered out. It's all very okay. Because we have Rock Tomb on our fucking Mienshao, just for this. Specifically for this. I wanted it specifically for this Volcarona scenario. We're gonna go for Sucker Punch because it guaranteed takes out Terrakion. That Pokemon's no longer a problem. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna go for a Fake Out into the Volcarona because even if I get burned, making sure that I can keep Gambit and Mienshao alive, I think is gonna be a more important deal. If they go for Protect, they reveal their Protect. I don't think Kurt is Protect. I think it's Quiver Dance, Will-O-Wisp, Heat Wave, and then probably Giga Drain. I think that's a set. It might be a Tera option. I don't really know, but it's definitely not Protect. Flame Body, that's fine. We get an ability reveal too. I'm very okay with this. Yeah, these are all very good things to be noting down here. So I'm kind of okay with that. Rock Tomb will be able to pick this mon off, plus Sucker Punch. And if Kurt's not going to go for attacks, I'm kind of okay with that too. But, I mean, realistically, I can actually guarantee the Volcarona will always be slower than me now because of this. So I'm very okay with this. Because Volcarona has not been able to get another speed boost off. If it was able to become faster than my Mienshao, this could have been a problem. And this actually maybe would have been a scenario where I would be threatened. But as you can see, there's no speed boost. So my Mienshao does guarantee creep this. So we'll go for Sucker Punch plus Rock Tomb. I didn't like that I had to reveal this, I'm going to be honest, but I don't think it will matter because I don't see Mienshao coming to game 3 despite it being a decent mon here. So I'm kind of okay with that. But it could have maybe been nice information. I don't think it will matter though because, again, I think I'm going to lean more towards the Trick Room route for game number 3. And I've gotten a lot of information about Kurt's team in the meanwhile, so I'm not really too concerned with this. But Sucker Punch will go off, and that's going to do some not terrible damage, but it's not great either. We reveal this is a Citrus Berry. Okay. That's all very fine information. And my Rock Tomb will be able to go off into Volcarona, and that should be able to do... Yeah, that's about half right there. Okay. So Kurt would need to be able to kill. which I don't think he will. He's gonna go for Heat Wave. That's gonna miss something. Missed Adamant. That's unfortunate. Ooh, that's super unfortunate. Yeah, that might have actually super mattered. I'm kind of curious if it did. I mean, for what it's worth, I was missing so many fucking. It's missing. Okay. That actually might. That might have mattered, but it kind of depends on if Kurt was very offensive or not. If Kurt was not offensive, it didn't matter. But okay. So as long as I hit my Rock Tomb, which I think I'm owed after the Hurricane misses that really warped the game, then we're kind of set. If I can, okay, perfect. Thank God. All right, so we're still in this. After the fuck up with my Teras, after all of the Hurricane misses that nearly choked that game away from me, we're still in this, which I'm very okay with that. Me and Chow is killing it. We're gonna get into game number 3 though, and we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this work. I feel very confident that in game number 3 we could pull this off. We've learned a lot of information about Kurt's Mons. We've learned that Terrakion is Scarfed. We know that Meditite is mostly a support piece here with Telepathy, probably for that duo specifically. We know that Whimsicott is just a general Tailwind piece. Pult is still kind of just here. That's a little bit of an anomaly, but it's clear body for sure. There is no reason that Kurt would not have brought that against a bundle Kilowattrel team. So I'm very convinced that is a clear body Pult that is just meant to kind of break stuff. It might be Banded. It might just be Life Orb. It might be Spell Tag even. Spell Tag would be decent. But we have a lot of information even just implied about that Pokemon. The Scrafty is really the biggest, like, interesting piece here, because it's Mirror Herb, and that's decent for sure. But thankfully I can work around it. I'm not too concerned. We're gonna go with Ogerpon-Misdreavus. I'm gonna trust my gut. We're gonna go with Ogerpon-Misdreavus. We're gonna bring Gambit and Garchomp. I'm not gonna second guess it. I think it's a good lead, and I built the team specifically in a way where I was benching Bundle for this lead, and I haven't brought it yet. So I may as well bring it. Like, it's not bad in the Kurt's team, and I think there's a lot of outs. Kurt didn't even bring Primarina, which was a thing I was very scared of. It's why the overload of Tera Fairy exists this week. Tera Poison exists this week. Like, I feel very confident that this should be able to win me the game. Especially with the Gambit. I think the Gambit will be in such a good position here. And even if Whimsicott decides to dare go for Encore, I'm not too concerned with it, because frankly, I don't think it'll lead, which is great. That is so great for me. I'm very, very content with that. My Ogerpon will 100% be going for Ivy Cudgel into that Scrafty if it leads. If it does not lead, then I will probably go for like a Spiky Shield plus a Trick Room on turn 1, because I know that I will underpace the Terrakion anyway, and I may as well fish for that. But thankfully, though, I don't see an out actually for Kurt into that lead, and I think Kurt's almost assuming that I'm bringing it to bluff at this point. So I'm going to go for it, and I think it will be able to win me the game. Like, again, and there's not a great check to it. So hopefully we can get a good game 3 in. I feel very confident we can do some work. If we lose, that's fine. I mean, Kurt's still a great battler. Kurt's still a great friend. I could have put myself in a better position as well, not fucking up at my Tera's game 1, or not running Hurricane for that matter, and just running fucking Air Slash, or even just any other flying move. Even Terra Blast flying, to be honest, could have been fine here, because I didn't really need to not go for Terra flying. I mean, Kilowattrel was a good offensive piece here. There was options, and I didn't really play into them, frankly. But regardless, though, good luck on fun to Kurt. I feel confident this should work, and we're gonna see how it does. We're gonna see how it does. So what's Kurt's lead gonna be? Kurt's lead's gonna be, it's gonna be Terrakion and Dragapult. Okay, Terrakion and Dragapult is an interesting lead. It's a very interesting lead, and it might be one of the only leads that I actually have to go for Tera Fairy, because Kurt could otherwise probably break me really well. I'm gonna go for an Ivy Cudgel, just raw into the Dragapult, because I am expecting a Tera Ghost here, and that should deal a lot of damage. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go for Tera Fairy, and I'm gonna go for Trick Room here. Even if Kurt doesn't go for a Tera, I'm still kind of okay with this play. Even if Kurt doesn't go for a Ghost move, I'm still kind of okay with this play. Even if Kurt kills my Ogerpon, I'm still kind of okay with this play. Like, I think this exchange will just be worth it. And burning a Tera on Misdreavus isn't that bad, because Kurt has such a very weak team, and I'm kind of okay with it. And if Kurt burns a Tera on Pult just to make sure that he can claim his kill, it does not look like he does. He doesn't burn a Tera on either Pokemon. I'm still okay with this. Because even if that's like a Power Herb Venom Force Dragapult, it's not going to matter a lot, because Kurt doesn't have an immediate way to break me. I guess if this is like Taunt Dragapult, then good play on Kurt, but that's really the only thing I'm kind of scared of. Rock Slide, that's fine. Okay, Rock Slide, it does not kill my Ogerpon. Kurt's going to go for Substitute. Perfect. Okay, so I'm breaking a Substitute, and I'm getting a speed advantage now, which is huge. Okay, we flinch. Never mind, I'm not breaking Substitute, and we dual flinch. Okay, great. That's amazing. That is amazing. Spectacular. Great way to start. We're going to go for Spiky Shield here. And then I'm going to go for a Trick Room yet again, because I kind of have to go for a Trick Room now. I might lose the game off of that. It's good information, at least it's a sub-pull. I hate it. I hate that we're fighting it. That might genuinely, fuck, that might actually lose me the game turn 1. Is that really gonna lose me the game turn 1? I really hope that's not how this game goes. That would suck so badly if that's how this game goes. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. Rock Slide goes off. Okay. Draken doesn't hit my Ogerpon and kill it. It's not gonna flinch Filmari this time. Shadow Ball is not gonna deal a lot of damage. They're not even gonna hit me. I just need to not get flinched again. Trick Room, perfect. Okay, thank God. Thank fucking God. Okay. Really starting to get unnecessarily worried about that. Okay. So now we can actually start dealing some serious damage. We're gonna go for Ivy Cudgel right in the pult. They have Shadow Ball, that's fine. We're gonna go for a Dazzling Gleam here. I'm just gonna start getting damage. We can take advantage of our Tera very, very nicely here. Okay. So Shadow Ball and Substitute on the Dragon Pult is a special pull. I'm very fine with this because special pull is just a lot less threatening against my team. I'm not too concerned with it. And I still do think that King Gambit can be a nice enough backup here. And our team is a lot closer to letting King Gambit just come in because Draken will probably just go for damage here and kill my Ogerpon, which is what he was meant to do. I couldn't let Ogerpon die preemptively, but I can definitely let it die right now. And that Spiky Shield actually proves to have been very helpful because I kept Misdreavus alive as well, which is huge. Dazzling Gleam is going to go off. Baby Flutter Mane putting in the work. It should do some decent damage. Yeah, that's not bad, actually. We break a sub on Pult. We get a nice Ivy Cudgel into that. It probably won't kill, but it will probably do at least around 30-40. Can't imagine even if this is a bulky Pult, it doesn't do at least 30-40. And it's high crit, too. Okay, yeah, I mean, that did like 30. We'll take that. Shadow Ball will go off. That's fine. I'm kind of okay losing my Ogerpon here. And then they'll get a single target Rock Slide, which would seem bad, except for the fact that I have a really good backline. And I'm kind of okay with it. Oh, they don't even hit. Okay. Never mind, they do hit. Okay, I really thought they weren't going to hit. Okay. Well, this is still not terrible, actually. This is still not terrible by any means. Okay. So, I can control the situation here pretty comfortably. What I need to do, so we have dual rock resist right now. I don't have to even Tera, is the best part about this. What I can actually do, I can go for Kowtow Cleave straight into that straight into that Dragon Pult here, and then I can just go for Outrage. Because Outrage is such a free move here, and that should help a lot against really whatever my opponent wants to go for. They can't really stop that. The Kowtow Cleave, even if they switch out into like Whimsicott, is still gonna do some decent damage because it's from a King Gambit. They're gonna switch out Terrakion most likely into Whimsicott, and if they do, that's fine. I'm not locked into Outrage. It's a very low committed play here. But it's more so to catch Terrakion around a Tera Ground, which I am a little bit scared of. Actually, no, they wouldn't click Tera Ground right now. Maybe that wasn't the best play, but it's still a fine play to make. And if Kurt lets me trade too, he lets me trade too. I think, frankly, what will more likely happen is that Whimsicott is going to come in now in that spot. And that's fine, because if it stops my play, I'm kind of okay with that. They're going to withdraw Terrakion, and they're going to bring in... Believe. I think that was the Whimsicott. That was the Meditite. Okay, well, Meditite's going to have to take a very hefty hit right now. And I'm kind of okay with that. Dragapult dies. That's perfect. Okay. Critical hit definitely mattered there. But meanwhile, though, we're going to get off a really strong Outrage this turn. This Outrage will go off. It's going to hit that Meditite. If it's Sash, it's going to bring it right down to Sash. It's Sash. Okay, that's perfectly fine. They're going to probably go for Fake Out this turn. I'm kind of okay with that. So that means I'm going to have to go for another Outrage, but I'm kind of okay with that too. Okay. So most likely Terrakion is going to come in. Elephant in the room, Terrakion's going to come in. No, Chloroseptic Symptom. That's the Volcarona. Oh, I'm very fine with that. Okay, yeah. So my play is to go for a... So go for a Kowtow Cleave into this. Because I think killing the Meditite is more important here, unironically. Just to make sure that my Outrage can land into the right target. We can't Tera, which is a little unfortunate against Volcarona, but I'm still not too against that. Because I still think that the Volcarona plus Terrakion endgame can be managed around. They're going to Fake Out into my King Gambit. Okay, good play by Kurt, because it keeps Meditite alive a turn, and it might force a bad Outrage. They're going to Wisp into Garchomp. Again, good play by Kurt. Still not too against it, though, because even burned, Garchomp will do a lot of damage. We have a lot of offensive investment, and it should still be fine here. Plus, on the following turn, I can most likely just pressure with the setup. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so we get confused. A little unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think that realistically, at this point, the Fear Up setup might take over, and I might be able to make Kurt choke. We still have, like, what, one more turn of Trick Room? One more turn of Trick Room. Okay, perfect. I think Kurt will probably make a bad play here. And I'm gonna try and take advantage of it. I'm gonna go for Sword Stance. And I'm gonna go for another Outrage. Another Outrage I think will be a good idea here. I'm gonna try and pressure that Terrakion into having to make a bad play. And I think it's my way of winning now. Kurt will most likely probably go for a Quiver Dance this turn. In either Quiver Dance or Will-O-Wisp into a Terrakion switch, I think is the play. Specifically so Kurt can try and get another Fake Out off. No, okay, so Kurt's just gonna attack Meditite. That's still fine. Sword Stance will pop, which is great. And then Heat Wave's gonna go off. Okay, Heat Wave's gonna go off. That's fine. So Kurt's going for like a Drain Punch this turn. Close combat? Okay, yeah, then I made a really bad play. I made a really terrible play on Kurt trying to stall out Trick Room. And that's gonna completely bite me later. Yeah, no, this was a terrible play then. Yeah, that's not a good play at all. Okay. So we hit Outrage at least, that's good. But at what cost? But at what cost? Yeah, no, that sucks. I could have literally just killed the Meditite right here. And then maybe try to win off of like really trying to pressure that Volcarona with Sucker Punches. But or even just like a raw Kowtows. Or just anything else really. This wasn't my brightest look. This was not my brightest look at all. Or even if I really was trying to like make that play intent, I could have maybe went for like a Sucker Punch plus Earthquake and then left it to Garchomp in the endgame. That could have maybe been a good play too. I don't know where this was the right play though, I'm gonna be honest. I think I choked the game away. Like I think it was still very winnable. I just think that this specific play was not it. And I think that going for Earthquake here plus Kowtow would have been a smarter play. But it is what it is. Because Garchomp wouldn't have killed my King Gambit anyway. Like I could have, this was a lot more winnable than I made it. If Meditite doesn't have Ice Punch, then maybe it's still winnable, but Meditite has Ice Punch. No, it's close combat, really? Okay. Okay. So, at this point, my only win con is if Terrakion somehow cannot kill me. Somehow. It's gonna close combat and it is gonna kill. But if it somehow doesn't kill me, then I'm looking kind of good. Also, if I could maybe break out of Outrage, that would be great, because I could maybe critical hit Earthquake. But, like, realistically, I think I kind of unfortunately let the game go down. Which is unfortunate, because Terrakion will definitely do more than 77, even to bulky Garchomp. And yeah, I think the Earthquake play would have been smarter. Okay. Well, yeah, this should be Kurt's. This should be Kurt's 100%. I can't see an out to this, so we'll just let it play out. But, yeah, good game. Definitely, as I said, I think that definitely going for Earthquake plus Kowtow would have been a smarter play, because I could have ended the game much healthier, and then I could have actually probably beaten this Terrakion. So I think realistically, yeah, that last turn was just a huge choke. But if nothing else, I do at least think that despite having choked that last turn, I still think the rest of the game was played really well, and I'm more than happy with that. I think realistically, again, Kurt definitely made some good plays early on. Unfortunate flinches, but I mean, realistically, there were still good plays that Kurt had to make nonetheless to get into those positions. And I won't act like, I mean, there wasn't favorable hacks on my side either, so I'll take what I can get. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, like and subscribe for more. Go check out Kurt. Kurt's been making amazing content this season. We're 1-3 right now. We'll bounce back, though. I feel very confident we can get to 5-3, despite the tough roster of opponents. This is just a low point, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it for sure. Consider becoming a channel member for just a couple $1 a month. You get some nice bonus content, and our current channel members are going to be none other than Zeke0, Mia, Rao Sakura, Obo, Josh A. Ultra Player, Endless Gadgets, Incog M, and our bigger fan, Vincent Wee. Thank you guys so much for your support on the channel. And with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Until then, peace out, guys.